Stop rushing and slow down. So I'm talking to you if you're a nurse or a healthcare worker. Slow down. Hi, my name is Emily. I'm a health and life coach. I empower women to live a healthy, balanced and fulfilled life. And on this channel, we talk all matters wellness, work-life balance and retirement. And if this is something that is of interest to you, please subscribe. So in today's video, we want to look at how stress is killing us. How can we stop rushing? And how can we slow down? Is that even possible? Because in the nature of our profession, as a healthcare worker or as a nurse, is it even possible to slow down? Let me know. Let me know in the comment section. How do you slow down? Because we want to look at the impact of rushing. The nature of our profession is that we have to get things done because we are dealing with human life, and there's always that agency. So in that agency, it has made us to always rush through, even through life or even during work. We are always in constant rushing because there's no way you can slow down. Something could go wrong or someone could die. So comment in the comment sections. Let me know. Let me know what you think about us slowing down as nurses. So I'll look at the impacts, and then I'll also look at ways in which during our work schedule, how we can bring in the slowness. So I've also left a video in the description whereby you can look at other ways of which you can be able to relax and unwind after work. You can look at some of those tips or some of those habits that you can do that can help you to be bringing down that stress level when you're not at work. But we want to look at the impact of us rushing at work, and then how we can bring in this slowness at work so that it doesn't impact on us. So we find that we rush because what I've just mentioned, we need to get things done. So we rush from one point to another point. There's an emergency. There are things that we need to get done. So what is the impact now? Because this constant state of agency where everything is urgent. So what that does, it just triggers the fight and flight mode. So meaning that the cortisol and the adrenal levels are always triggered. So we need that if it's at low levels to be able to function. But now when it's constantly high, the cortisol levels is constantly high, we find that it's going to be harmful. It's going to be harmful on our health and on our life. So first impact is rushing, triggering the fight and flight, and then the cortisol levels going high. The second impact will be burnout, because there's this constant need to get tasks done quickly because we find we have a workload, and maybe you have 8 hours, you have 10 hours, you have 12 hours. Yes, in our profession, we can always hand over things, but then there are things that you may not hand over. So it's just knowing that how can I be able to get all this done in that period that I've been allocated to get this done. So you find that wanting to get things done quickly, it leads us to burnout, where we'll be mentally, emotionally, and physically exhausted. And we find that most nurses end up with burnout. I'm a victim of burnout, and that's how I had to exit the profession, because of burnout. So this is something that we need to take control of so that it doesn't harm us and lead us to getting burned out. The third impact will be our mental health. You find that there's always this unease of agency. Something could be, so you keep rushing, and it gives you this anxiety. And then if let's say you have an underlying anxiety, or you have depression. So this just worsens your mental health. So it's just knowing that this rushing can worsen your mental health. So you want to make sure that we want to prioritize our mental health so that we can be in a better state of mind to be able to function and to be able to provide care. Because if you're not in a proper, then everything can go wrong again with that. And then there's another impact about the physical health, which we all know with this constant stress can lead to heart conditions, it can lead to strokes, it can lead to high blood pressure because of constant rushing, and then the stress level going up, then we end up now with these physical ailments. Sleep. You'll find that when we are rushing and our cortisol levels has been stimulated, for example, I would point at here in Australia whereby we have a rotating roster. So if let's say I have to finish a shift at 11 p.m. and then my next shift, morning shift, is a.m. So if I have finished 11 and there was, maybe I had an 8-hour shift and there was this constant stress level whereby the cortisol levels were high. So I'm constantly stressed. I finish my shift. I get home where I need to rest and so that my body can heal so that I can go back to work. But you find that when you're constantly stimulated, then even falling asleep will be a problem because that also impacts your sleep rhythm. So you'll find that now in the morning I have to go back to work, but I didn't get enough sleep and the cortisol levels are already high. So it just becomes a cycle of that. Yeah, a cycle of stress, back to stress, back to stress. So we want to find ways whereby if I'm not at work, what can I do to unwind, relax, bring the cortisol levels down? And while I'm at work, what can I do to really bring these stress levels down? So let's look at those ways now. So in my previous video, check it out, the previous video where I've looked at how we can be able to be mindful with the breathing. So just being able to incorporate the deep breaths during your shift, and that only takes 30 seconds. So please look out for that video and just see how I've explained how you can be able to incorporate that in your shift, in your work schedule. Second thing is walking briskly, because sometimes you'll find, I've seen nurses, colleagues that would be rushing from one corner to the other corner because they're just feeling like, things are not, they can't get things done unless they rush. There could be an emergency, but there's a difference of rushing and walking briskly. Yes, there's an emergency, I'm walking towards that emergency. I don't have to rush, I can walk briskly, because the moment you start rushing, remember you're triggering that fight and flight. And so the stress level just goes up high. So you can walk from one station to the next station, but you can walk briskly and get whatever you want to do done. And the third impact will be, the third way you can slow down is during your meal break. Whether it is your coffee or your cup of tea, can you have that break whereby you are eating with all your senses, and then you focus, if it is that cup of tea or if it's that coffee, can you just bring all your attention to that cup of coffee and enjoy it? Just enjoy the coffee and not thinking about what is on the floor or what is. Eat with all your senses, all your 5 senses. Smell, taste it, how it tastes. And if it's something you're chewing, can you try and count how many times you're chewing? Because we find that when we are rushing, even during eating, we don't slow down with eating. Because some of us, having worked in this profession for so many years, you'd find that even slowing down to eat, some people can slow down, but we find that with the constant rushing, it has even made us to eat through the food, because you just be putting in a spoon and maybe you chew 3, 4, 5 times. Let me know in the comment sections, how many times do you chew before you swallow? Can you count today? Just count before you swallow, because that will tell you where if you're rushing. Because if you're slowing down, you need to count, get to around 20 times before you chew. So let me know in the comment sections how many times do you chew before you swallow. So with the slowing down, when we count, when I keep counting maybe up to 20, that already slows me down and it brings my cortisol levels down. The last way to slow down will be taking those intentional breaks. You know, just knowing that, can I take 1 minute, 2 minutes? When I go to hydrate, drink some water, take a breath, take a deep breath, and then stretch. So this is just a mental break. Making sure that can you incorporate these mental breaks in your schedule.